is 2020 and it's time to get rid of that disclaimer. Hey there, it's Jennifer on The Social Academic. You know that disclaimer on social media, likes and retweets are not endorsements? It doesn't really mean anything. By that I mean likes and retweets are endorsements, and today I'm going to talk about why. First, this particular disclaimer is typically seen on Twitter, and it's generally found in your Twitter bio or maybe in a pinned tweet. But it's taking up valuable space you need to share your message. And like I said, it doesn't mean as much as you might think. Hi there, I'm Jennifer Van Alstyne, the academic designer. This is my blog where I share advice on communicating your work with the world through social media and websites. And I interview awesome grad students, faculty, and researchers like you for the Social Academic Interview Series. There's a new one coming later this month. I'm so excited. Today, we're talking about sharing on social media, and we're getting into the specifics of why disclaimers like this aren't necessary. Likes and retweets aren't endorsements, or retweets do not equal endorsements. Have you seen a statement like this before? I've seen it on hundreds of profiles, and I've been in workshops where this type of disclaimer is recommended for grad students and faculty, especially those on the job market. According to BuzzFeed, the phrase was started by Patrick LaForge and was something he borrowed from the New York Times social media policy where he was an editor. Now he says the phrase makes him cringe. Let's get into why I don't recommend this disclaimer. So let's talk about the effects of sharing on social media and what are likes and retweets. Likes and retweets are a form of engagement on social media. Likes are applicable to most social media platforms, whereas retweets are specific to Twitter. However, some form of sharing is available on most networks, and retweets are a type of sharing. Today, we're talking about social media networks in which the engagements, like and retweet, share that content with your audience, and this includes networks like Twitter and LinkedIn. And we're going to talk about why sharing is a form of endorsement. But first, let's talk about liking and sharing on social media. So a like usually means that you've read a post and liked the content of it. On some platforms, liking a post is kept private or it's relegated to an area few people check, like on Instagram. That's not the case, however, for Twitter and LinkedIn. When you engage on Twitter and LinkedIn, it's public. And when you like a post or tweet on those platforms, the original post is shared with your audience, along with a little note at the top that you're the one who liked it. Now, I'm not saying that you need to fact check all your memes, but you do need to be aware that even the act of liking a meme or an article is in fact sharing it with your audience. And that's broadcasting. I mean, we're talking about transmitting information, sharing it with real people. That's actively sharing information and putting our name behind it. Sure, it's not for long, but there's a reason so much disinformation spread on Facebook and Twitter during the last US election cycle, and some of that is down to us. We need to be cognizant of what our actions do. In this case, sharing content with a larger audience, mainly your own. The same is true for retweeting and sharing content. Though the retweet is particular to Twitter, you're literally sharing content with your audience when you do retweet. This is a great thing, but it also means that you are, in a sense, endorsing that content. You're sharing it with your personal audience and putting your name behind it as content you've shared. You don't need that disclaimer. The act of liking or sharing something is kind of endorsing it. Yeah, not officially, not politically. Your endorsement is more likely to have your friends, family, and colleagues engaging with that information. It invites them to explore that content in real time, like right now. So yeah, I don't recommend that disclaimer. It's not needed, and it's taking up valuable room in your bio or in a pinned tweet. Instead, be cognizant of what you like and share. Check out the article first. View that person's profile to see what they typically share, if it's something your social media audience will be interested in. A few extra steps makes a big difference for the community you cultivate online. P.S. I do want to mention that while there hasn't been an official ruling on if retweets are endorsements legally in the United States, the Justice Department does assume that at least Some retweets can be read as endorsements according to the Harvard Journal of Law and Technology, or JOLT. And in some countries, including the United Kingdom, Switzerland, India, and Japan, Twitter users have been held liable for tweeting false or defamatory content. So think before you retweet, but definitely don't rely on a disclaimer to protect you. It likely won't. So it all comes down to this. What you share on social media is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to be aware of what you're sharing. And that often means reading the article or visiting someone's profile to see what they're about first. This is not a step everyone takes. We're used to checking out our sources for articles and being questions about our citations by reviewer number 2. That peer review process is formalized and the steps are clear. But when it comes to social media, when you like or retweet something on Twitter, it's shared with your audience in real time. I mean, no one is going to go back to your bio to see if you have that disclaimer or not. They're going to click on the link or Twitter thread and explore the content you've shared. Because you have that power to share a message and have it be seen, read, shared, and commented upon, especially in real time, you need to take extra steps to ensure you stand by that content. Or if you don't, that you qualify your opinion or why you're sharing it with a comment of your own. But another reason I wanted to write about this is because oftentimes people fall into typical patterns of engagement, liking and retweeting posts. This feels comfortable because we're not creating content, and for some, this means not feeling judged. It becomes easy to like a few posts, find something to retweet, and move on. I'm not saying we all have to be content creators on social media, but I do encourage you to post original text, photos, or video once in a while. And a good way to practice or start doing that is by changing from retweet to retweet with a comment. That means when you share, you're providing 1 or 2 sentences of your own insight. Here are some ideas. You could try a quick reiteration of what people will find in the tweet thread, a relevant hashtag, and a quick note to check it out, why you liked it and are sharing it, or why you don't like or agree with it, a quote from the article. So there's lots of things you can share, and retweeting is sharing content with your audience. That can be a good thing, especially when it's relevant to their interests and what you want to talk about. But retweeting with a comment is more personable and more effective for your social media channels overall. It's also a great way to start writing your own original posts for those of you social media lurkers out there. Are you liking this so far? Be sure to hit subscribe today. Before we move on and you throw up your hands and say that there are far too many things that you've liked or retweeted, you're anxious, you've shared something you shouldn't, or you liked the wrong post, I've been there, and I've worked with many faculty and researchers who've gone through the same thing. Last year, I interviewed Lauren Smart, who has one solution. She said that she installed Delete Tweet for her Twitter, and so every 300 tweets or so, all her old tweets are deleted and only the most recent tweets are there. So there are a few programs and apps that you can use to delete tweets in bulk, but you can also take back your likes and retweets manually by scrolling through your feed. And this tends to be my recommendation, and people often need to delete less than they expect. So it's time to ditch that disclaimer and update your bio. And you're probably like, okay, I get it. No disclaimer. But what do I put in my bio instead? Your Twitter bio is a great place to share who you are and what you do. And because there's a limited number of characters allowed there, don't pug it up with the disclaimer. Give people information about who you are and why they should follow you. Here are some things you could include. Your university or affiliation, your area of research and topic of specialization, maybe the book project that you're working on, or interests and topics that you like to talk about on Twitter. One other thing you could include is one relevant hashtag to help people find you. I don't recommend much more than that, and I do encourage you to get creative. Oh, one more thing, avoid acronyms. Twitter search is quite powerful, but people typically search for full keywords and not acronyms, so be sure to use full words. Want to learn more about what to include in your social media bios? I have guides for academics on Twitter and Instagram on The Social Academic, so be sure to check them out. Okay, now you've gotten rid of that pesky disclaimer and you've updated your bio to be more specific about who you are. If you really want to take control of your social media life and learn how to use it to share your academic work, your research, teaching, and writing, well, I have just the training for you. Cross-platform social media for academics is an online self-paced course designed just for busy academics like you. It gives you awesome social media skills that you can use when you want to or when you need to. This training isn't just how to connect with your scholarly audience. We get into how to share your work with family and friends as well. From announcing your new publication to how to talk about your next presentation, this online course has everything you need to master social media for your academic life. So be sure to check out the course and get in touch. I'd love to talk to you about it or just meet you and say hi. You can find me on social media at higheredpr, and be sure to subscribe to The Social Academic today. This has been It's Time to Get Rid of That Disclaimer. Just in, likes and retweets are endorsements on social media. I'm Jennifer Van Alstyne, and this has been The Social Academic. I can't wait. Join us next time.